to be honest with you, I'm just going to come on and say it. Cam Newton is an average guy. He's an average quarterback.
Yeah. Just let it all out, Joe. Just be honest.
This is what I'm doing.
Right? Just bang.
I do.
Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk from two men in the know. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
Well, this is what the Patriot Handbook says, Joe. That's what we got to do. See you later. That's right there. Rule number 143. Yeah. Jimmy just felt the need to bring the Patriots into a Raiders conversation. Can you believe that? I think I always have to do it.
All right. Welcome, everybody, once again to Football on the Know. I am Jim McPhee, and alongside of me is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Season 2. We are back right at it again, talking about football, all NFL. Let's go. Let's get into this.
Oh, man. You know what? I really enjoyed the vacation, off and stuff. It was nice. I got to do other things and stuff. But then I started to get the itch. I started hearing things and stuff, and I got the itch. And it isn't what you think it might be with the itch. I did get a little dry skin during the wintertime, but I was fine, But, I just, football was in the air, and, all these things are happening. That's the thing, though. Yeah, you get that urge, all the transactions, people leaving, people getting signed to other teams, the drama. Yeah. And I just wanted to talk about it to somebody. I was feeling it. I needed to do it.
Had it all bottled up, did you?
Absolutely. So, all right, here we go again. Season 2, Football on the Know. We appreciate everybody who's tuning in, and everybody who did last year for our first season. And it's been a great time. You can check us out on Twitter at FB_know, and we're also on SoundCloud, so you can hear all our stuff there as well. Mm-hmm. And let's get to it, Joe. A lot of stuff going on. The big topic is Odell Beckham Jr., right?
Odell. There's a lot of controversy going on right now. I mean, you have the Giants in the beginning with the owner saying, you know what? Let's not even really talk about that. It's not even an issue. Let's not talk about it. Then rumors started circulating. Sources from other sources started to get around the NFL league circles. And what do you know? Now you have the owner coming back publicly and saying, hey, we want Odell to be a Giant. We want him to stay on the roster. However, now that just came out is that now apparently, by some source, they're looking for not one, but 2 first-round picks, at least, to start the conversation up and get the ball rolling.
Wow, it's funny how that transpired, because it went to, we're not really doing anything. We're not thinking about that at all. As far as we know, he's on the team still, right. and then all of a sudden, it came out to that we're listening to offers. If you have something, we're just listening if you want. Now you're saying that they're possibly making a demand now. Well, we don't want just players. We want not only one number 1 pick as well. We want 2 number 1s.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's really funny, and it's getting the pot stirred right here. I mean, a lot of and the one team that's been publicly named is the LA Rams. The LA Rams have been publicly named of them seriously checking in on this, potentially kind of starting the conversation going, just to see what it will take. Now, just to get Odell. Now, if you remember, a few weeks ago, they pulled off a trade. They traded Alec Ogletree, an all-pro middle linebacker that the Giants sorely would need, and the Giants pulled the trigger to trade to get – it didn't even cost them a lot. But now they have a 26-year-old all-pro middle linebacker, and that's great for the Giants. They've already done 1 trade. Do I hear 2 more trades, maybe?
Who knows if they have a good relationship with the Rams. But, the thing that's getting all the backlash again with this whole deal is people are up in arms because the type of player that Odell Beckham Jr. is, he is possibly the best wide receiver in the league. A lot of people want to bring up Antonio Brown as well. It's what you understand. You've seen what he's done and the way they perform in Pittsburgh. But Odell with the one-handed grabs all the time, But the thing is, when you're dealing with some of the off-the-field issues that the Giants are dealing with, and they ask him to try and straighten out, and you hear other things, then there becomes an issue. Mm-hmm. But, again, the backlash you hear is, well, you can still sort that out. You look at this guy. You're not going to find a talent like Odell Beckham Jr. It is unbelievable that people are thinking, they're thinking like, why are the Giants doing this? Like, they cannot understand the reason.
Yeah,
like, why would you give up your best player at all, especially when he's young? He's got to figure out a contract. He wants max money,
right?
And like, what would possibly think that it's a good idea to get rid of this guy?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: I understand a lot of Giants fans out there are furious about this idea, even for people to talk about it. I mean, even in our own group on Facebook, we've had an outpour of people in disagreement. Like, there's no way in hell Odell gets traded. There's no way why are we even talking about this? Well, the reason why we're talking about it is not only one, is trades fun to talk about, especially with big names, but two, there's a little bit of smoke coming from the Flames here. A little bit, just enough to get the conversation rolling here. Now, I don't think you would see so much of a frenzy about one player and for it not to be at all true. Not to be even a slightest bit like maybe they were kind of interested in the beginning about possibly trading Odell, and you bring up the high talent that he has. He's definitely one of the most elite receivers in this game today, and he's extremely athletically gifted. He has phenomenal hands. He has speed. He's just an amazing wide receiver, and that's why I could see a lot of interest in Odell. Now, the asking price right now is they at least want 2 first-round picks. But what you're getting in a player in Odell, yes, the talent is phenomenal, but you also got to weigh in, with the antics on and off the field. In the locker room with his teammates, there's been some problems in the locker room. Not a lot, but there's been a little. And then outside is where the biggest problem lies. You have Odell partying at midnight in bars. There's a videotape that I witnessed of him getting hit upside the head in the bar. So that right there is showing you that he doesn't mind getting into trouble already in the nightlife. And then he's doing, sometimes he comes out with these spontaneous videos himself that he posts on Instagram and other social media sites, and that's drawing attention in a negative way that teams they frown upon that. So all these things that now, don't get me wrong, Odell hasn't gone so far to the other side where he's getting into police trouble.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's another big issue.
That's the thing what people would argue about too, as well. Is like, well, he doesn't have like a criminal record. He's not getting investigated by the police. Yeah. Not like, say, like Zeke Elliott and some other people. Alden Smith, who can't get himself out of enough trouble and things like that, keeps doing it. Kid never learns as well. But he still even has a job. And the funny thing is too, a lot of people look at Giants fans like, well, maybe these guys are just spoiled with this guy that they're even willing just to say, well, forget him, whatever, let's just get rid of him. Because every person I've talked about that has a different team that they like other than the Giants, they're like, we'll take him, right here, bring him over here, why not? Which we understand. Right. And I happen to be on the side of where, again, I look at it as a whole. When JPP ended up getting traded away, I was glad we ended up getting a third-round pick for it because I think that's about right, because, he has had some production despite losing the fingers. But before that even, you could see there was a little bit of, I don't know, not exactly a decline, but it just seemed like he didn't really have what he did earlier on. And when I heard that he was going to get traded, I was like, well, that's fine, because if he can improve our team, I'm all about it. And when I look at this Odell Beckham Jr.
Situation here,
I look at, well, you have this star diva. One person, I think it was on 104.5 The Team, they had said, well, look at it this way. Say it's the hot girl in the bar. Wouldn't you want to be with the hot girl in the bar? Because there she is. She's got this and this. Why not? Everybody would love to have that.
However,
sure,
she might be batshit crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I said to him. I'm like, all right, listen, buddy. But when it's time for a man to settle down, and you can relate this to women as well, they want that person who has the whole package. The person that makes them laugh. Right. Somebody that has the look. Somebody that they can talk about and things like that. And that's what I'm kind of looking for in my team as well. If I can use Odell Beckham Jr.'s stature and his talent to try and get a few more other talented, not elite talent that he has, but if I could use his elite talent at the wide receiver position to get at other positions that we need, especially picks closer on to maybe fill that void in the offensive line and things like that. I'm all about it because wide receivers are a dime and a dozen, you know, especially in the draft. And last time I checked, an elite wide receiver hasn't really won a Super Bowl for somebody. I mean, take a look at Calvin Johnson. What happened with him? He was just stuck in Detroit the whole time, and you could say he's a Hall of Famer wide receiver.
Absolutely.
I mean, he at one time was the best wide receiver in the league.
Yeah.
And look at him. Did he win any championships? No. He stayed with Detroit. And where did they go with that whole thing?
Yeah, they did. I mean, to be honest, that's where it comes into building a team. Detroit didn't do it the right way, and they haven't done it the right way for a long time. Now you're starting to see them slightly climb that hill to become a very competitive team and maybe possibly make a push for that Super Bowl. However, they're still not there yet. They're close, but they're not there yet. And with Calvin Johnson on the team, they midway through his career, they added Stafford, and that was a huge plus for them. They had that nice combination of quarterback and receiver relationship that were both extremely gifted, and they had that for a while. But the problem was they didn't build the rest of the team around those guys. They wanted to keep the money in their pockets, and they were a little bit cheap for a long period of time, and it bit them in the rear end. And now you bring this back to when you have a chance to acquire an elite talent like Odell Beckham. I understand the issues on and off the field. I get it. It's a problem more than fans think it would be, but he has talent. Look, he could easily get over 1,200 yards, 1,500 yards, and 8 touchdowns a season. Yes, it's quite possible he could. But the thing is, too, is that teams are also looking at not just the talent, they're also looking at the complete package, like you were saying, in a relationship role. And this is where a team like the Rams, who have been the only public team brought up right now, and I think behind closed doors they are having negotiations. I think that there is a mutual common interest in, the Giants maybe potentially moving Odell, but you got to think about what they're going to get in return. Now, I understand completely that Odell, you're losing an elite receiver, but think about the compensation that you will get right now that can help your team right now. Now, if you happen to get 2 first-round picks, which typically is going to be like 1 this year, 1 next year, and then other picks. So you might get a second this year, too. So think about that. The Giants already hold the second overall pick. They could very easily, if they wanted to, they can go many different avenues now. They could either take a Saquon Barkley at the running back, who, to me, in my eyes, is one of the best college football players coming out this year. He's just phenomenal. They could take a running back there. But then, guess what? They have the 23rd first-round pick waiting for them lower in the first round. Now, they could still draft another wide receiver to now you potentially have not only boosted your running back core, now you're also adding a highly talented, younger wide receiver who potentially could maybe fill the void, maybe not completely, but fill the void enough to where you're not talking about him next year or the year after. And then, beyond that, they still have more picks. They could add more help to their team right now. If they do this, and then in the future, the following draft, guess what? They're going to have 2 more first rounders to use. So you got to really think about it big picture. You know, you got to think of what you're getting in return and what you can do with that investment going forward.
Right, and even if you want to use stats as your defending the whole thing. First of all, I just want to say that too. I'm like, I wouldn't mind if he was still on the team, but I'm just looking at ways to, if this could improve my team, I'm all about it because I'm a Giants fan no matter what, no matter, looking at football altogether. I'm not an Odell Beckham Jr. A fan. Like I like him. Yes, I am a fan of him. Right. But I when it comes to Giants or him, I'm going to go with the Giants. Because I want to see my team perform. I've been there since the '80s and things, and it's seen them. Been a fan, so I've been there through plenty of personnel. And so, I mean, if you want to look at it that way, I mean, you want to put stats next to each other. I've seen the stats from ESPN. They try to say where Eli was throwing to Odell when he was in the game, and then when he was throwing without Odell, it was a drastic difference. Well, also, you have to look at when Odell was in the game. There was a lot of other wide receivers out. And he was the only option, especially when that offensive line was so weak. All he had to do was just like, well, I can trust this guy. I just got to get it out of here in 2-3 seconds and get it to him, and he'll make plays happen. You know, that's the reason for him getting 1,300 receiving yards the first season. Again, despite the injury, it's because when he came in there, he was all he had. Look how many targets he got. Then you'll see a real number. He got targeted all the time. Mm-hmm. If anyone gets targeted as much, you're going to have the yards like that. Right. You know. And one thing I do look at, though, when it comes to an elite receiver and pressure receiver, is the drops. He has a lot of easy drops. If you get in his head, much like Josh Norman did that one game, he comes with a drop when it's wide open. Yeah. Where's your elite hands there when I need you? Yeah. And championships have been built on just stability. Look at the New England Patriots. A lot of times when they won those Super Bowls,
no flashy names.
Gronk wasn't even in it. He wasn't even in that game. And other times, the grown talent. They made a trade with the Miami Dolphins to get, or no, I think the Dolphins released him, but they picked up Wes Welker. They saw something in him that a lot of people didn't see. They made a star out of him, a stud. And Julian Edelman, a quarterback turned wide receiver. Look at him. You know, guys that they made through the draft are picking up on free agents and became good players for them, and everybody understanding the way.
That's really how a team should be building. They should be building their team based on schematically, like what player fits our scheme, our offensive scheme, our defensive scheme. What player fits us best? Don't go for just the big names. You know, don't try to make a trade just because, oh my God, you know, like it's Odell Beckham Jr. I think we should get him. Don't get me wrong. He is an elite talent. No, there's no doubt about it. But there are teams that don't rely on the big name, like the Patriots. How have they been so successful for so damn long? And you look at it and it's like, wow, they didn't really acquire, who's it, Deion Branch? Where did he come from? He ended up becoming like one of the better receivers in the league when he played for the Patriots. And he was a free agent pickup. Mm-hmm. Wes Welker was cut by the Dolphins, like you mentioned before. They added him to the team, made him into an All-Pro. They just happened to find guys that fit their type of offense or their type of defense, and they match the players' skill sets with their scheme, and that's why they're such a successful football club.
Absolutely, that's what I'm kind of looking for my team. But again, if they can't make something happen,
if you can't make something
really they're just listening to some answers or some offers, and it's not what they really want, then don't go for it. Because I've been happy with them, so far too. Absolutely. I really don't like the antics that he has, at times, and I don't think he hasn't gotten himself into too much trouble yet. But much like Dave Gettleman said, he said, "Listen, I came in here." And everybody had a clean slate. I mean, look at the issues with Eli Apple. I wanted him gone a long time ago. He's still there.
He's still there.
But he said now Odell has already put a little bit of a scuff on that chalkboard. The clean slate. So now he's scuffed it a little bit. Just because, again, if you're putting yourself in circumstances, you got to know who you are. All right. If you put yourself in circumstances, you're bound to get in some kind of other trouble, whether you meant it or not. People are going to try and set you up for things like that, and failure, because people are just like that. They're all about that. They'll go after you. They don't care about you and your money, So.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. Tell us what you think, you guys. If you like the Odell thing, if you want to trade him, or you think it's a good, good idea to keep him, or a good idea to go.
All the know-it-alls out there. Every know-it-all out there. We want your feedback. Give us a little comment. Even if you wanted to give us a brief summary, we'll read a whole paragraph. We don't mind. Mm-hmm. Just give us your thoughts real quick on what you feel. Do you feel that the Giants should move on from Odell? Do you feel like they should not even entertain the even interest for him going forward? Let's see what happens here. I mean, it's interesting to talk about, but in the end, we're going to find out the real truth in the near future.
Join us next week from 8 till 10 Wednesday night for more Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.